Hello and welcome to the Championship Review. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for everyone that had a go with the predictions as well. That means an awful lot to me in the preview show. But this is the review, and we had an amazing week of football. Some amazing goals scored, some amazing games, some comebacks, everything that you'd wish for in this week of fixtures. And let's start with the last game, which is Rotherham versus Stoke. So Rotherham, they have had a pretty okay start to the season, I guess. Their aim is to simply stay up, and currently they are 4 points above the relegation zone, which is brilliant for them. But they will be kicking themselves. A very soft penalty was awarded. Well, they said it was soft, but I thought it was quite. I thought he fell on his leg. Ashley Williams brought down. Was the player that brought them down. It was Williams also that went down. And Ryan Manning dispatched the penalty. Next, from a corner, Richard Wood, who's absolutely amazing from set pieces. He headed on and Towell was on the line to make it 2-0. It looked like all 3 points were heading to Rotherham. Ince got one back just before the hour mark, and in 5 minutes from time, the forgotten man, Bojan, made it 2-2. Not the result that any team would have wanted. Stoke would have wanted to go there and win. Rotherham, when they were 2-0 up, would have hoped to have seen the game out. Both of them remain on 10 points. I do feel if it is a bad result on Tuesday against Bolton for Stoke, I do feel he will be losing his job by the time the international break comes on. I feel he is under so much pressure. They've conceded 18 goals so far this season. That's the second highest, only behind Preston. It's not been good enough. Next, we travel to Birmingham, and Birmingham got away with conceding 2 goals in the first half to draw 2-2 with Ipswich. Ipswich, who are still looking for their first win of the season. Ipswich were 2-0 up inside the first half. Former Shrewsbury man John Nolan and Matthew Pennington scoring the goals there to make it 2-0. But 2 goals from Lukas Jukovic made it 2 apiece. Right at the end, Pennington was then sent off for a second bookable offence. He pushed the bloke right out of the way, and there was no complaints from Ipswich. Ipswich are up to 22nd, which is good. They've picked up 6 points, but they are still yet to have their first win. They have Middlesbrough at home next, which will be very tough as well, but they need to start turning these draws into wins. Next, we travel to Blackburn, another 2-2 draw here. Really interesting game this. Lewis Grabban missed the penalty in the first half, but then they scored. Nottingham Forest 1-0. It was Lewis Grabban, and then Blackburn turned it round. Armstrong with the first goal and Bradley Dack with the second goal, and it looked like all 3 points were heading to Blackburn. But 10 minutes to go, Joe Lolly went down very softly and won a penalty. Lewis Grabban stepped up again after already missing a penalty and put it away to get Nottingham Forest another draw. That's 6 draws, the second highest, second highest with Blackburn only, and Ipswich. Only Birmingham have drawn more, who have drawn 7 games so far this season. Next, we go to one of the most surprising results of the weekend, and that is over at Bolton when they defeated Derby, who recently knocked out Manchester United out the Carabao Cup. Craig Noone scored the only goal of the game, and to be fair, it was lovely to see him go over to Stephen Darby, who's recently had to retire due to illness, and it was a lovely bit of affection that I really did enjoy that. It was a pretty even game overall. Derby, they only had 1 shot on target, and if you have 1 shot on target, it doesn't matter if you have 74% possession like they did. You're not going to score having so few shots on target. They've tried to change it. They brought on Marriott, they brought on Lawrence, and they brought on Waghorn, but Bolton held on for 3 points that they desperately needed after no wins in their last 5. They go to Stoke hoping to pour more misery on Gary Rowett's side on Tuesday, but really important 3 points for Bolton, just to turn things round after the situation with the board and the whole paying the money and all that. So it's good to see that they've hopefully turned a corner. Next we go to a surprising result, and that is Brentford and Reading. I was quite surprised at what happened here. Neil Maupay scored, as he has done so many times this season. He made it 1-0 after 11 minutes, but out of 25 minutes there was an equaliser for Reading. John Daddy Bodvarsson made it 1-1. Yeah, really weird goal. Both of the goals, Daniel Bentley, who played for Southend, was at fault. 64 minutes, John Swift, who I think played for Brentford, I could be wrong, he made it 2-1, and it looked like all 3 points were heading to Reading, what would be a magnificent result. Then Ben Rama was sent off with 4 minutes to go, and it looked like they were going to hold on for the win. But Barbette, right at the end, in the 92nd minute, sealed a point for Brentford that keeps them in the top 6. So really, really good start for Brentford, but a really good point for Reading. So out of the last 12 points, they've picked up 7, which is fairly decent. After no wins in their opening 6 games and just 2 draws, they're starting to turn things around just a little bit over at Reading. Next, we have Hull and Middlesbrough, and quite a surprising result this. Assombalonga opened the scoring in the second half from close range, but then a penalty that Bowen converted made it 1-1. A really, really good point for Hull City. That puts them on still in 21st, but 8 points now, and a very, very good point against a very, very good Middlesbrough side. Middlesbrough are currently in 3rd now. Overall, from what I saw, I think Middlesbrough are the better side, but a very, very good point for Hull nonetheless. Really impressive that. Next, we go to a game that was turned around twice in Millwall versus Sheffield United. So there was a lot of action in both halves. In the first half, Sheffield United won a penalty which Billy Sharp took and was saved onto the bar by Ben Amos. But 5 minutes before half time, he did get his goal, Billy Sharp, and they went in 1-0 at the break. But the second half, turnaround goals from Cooper and then Lee Gregory. Ryan Leonard assisting Lee Gregory, who was on loan from Sheffield United. I bet they regret saying that he could play in the game. But another penalty in the 80th minute. McGoldrick took this one and made no mistake, putting it into the wrong corner of the goalkeeper. And then a minute from time, McGoldrick again struck to make it 3-2. What a win that was for Sheffield United, coming back from 2-1 behind. 2 late goals to win 3-2. This puts them in 4th place, just 1 point off the top. Absolutely fantastic by Chris Wilder's men. Millwall, they are currently in 23rd with 4 defeats in their last 5 games. They travel to Nottingham Forest, hoping to get something from that one, but it's been a tough start on Millwall so far this season. Norwich continue their good form, their good recent form. Varanic scoring a penalty in the 86th minute being the only difference. They probably deserve to win the game. Wigan fails to even register a shot on target. Really, really poor from them, but a really, really good 3 points from Norwich. Norwich are now in 5th place. Won 4 of their last 5 games, drawn the other. They are unbeaten in their last 5 games. And then they have Derby away in a very, very interesting match. That could go either way. Derby have very, very good form at home. But if Norwich were to win that, that would be a big statement of intent. So much better from Norwich City in the last few weeks. Next, we go to the table toppers. West Brom are now top of the league after a 3-2 victory over Preston. Rodriguez opened the scoring, and then Hughes equalised with a free kick. 2 goals, one an own goal from Davis, and then a free kick from Gale in the 88th minute made it 3-1. Brown did get one back just before the end, but it remained a win for West Brom. West Brom are now 25 goals scored so far this season, which is 5 higher than the next, which is Leeds. So a really, really, really attacking team over at West Brom. Preston, they have conceded 21 goals, the most conceded by any team in the league. 4 defeats in their last 4 games, 7 defeats already, just that 1 win so far this season. Bottom of the league. I think Alex Neil is under real pressure now. They need to start picking up results. On Tuesday, they travel to Aston Villa, who haven't had a very, very good start themselves. And that is one that they will hope to get something from. If not, like Rowett, I could see him leaving come the international break. Next, we go over the border to Swansea and a 3-0 win, comfortable win over QPR. Goals from Courtney Baker-Richardson, Connor Roberts and Jay Fulton easily past QPR. Courtney Baker-Richardson came in after missing the last few games after being sent off for a very, very poor challenge against Millwall, and he repaid the favour after just 16 minutes. Swansea, they bossed the game. They had by far the better possession. That puts them up to 7th. So they struggled in the last couple of games, but a really, really good win as well. They've struggled for goals, so bagging 3 is really, really good. Puts them into 7th, and they'll be looking forward to Tuesday when they go to Wigan, hoping for another win that could see them go into the playoffs. Been quite impressed with Graham Potter so far. I think he's done a very, very good job indeed. So that is the review done. Let's have a quick look at the table. So West Brom are now leading the pack. They are 20 points and they are top of the league, followed by Leeds on 19. Third is Middlesbrough, who are also on 19. Fourth is Sheffield United, who are also on 19 points. Norwich are 5th with 17 and Brentford are 6th with 16. But there is just 5 points between West Brom, who are top of the league, and Bolton, who are 14th. There's just 6 points between between Aston Villa and West Brom. So that is the small difference between these clubs. A couple of wins and you could be in the playoffs, and a couple of defeats and you could be, in the bottom half. So it's really, really tight at the minute. Aston Villa haven't had. Oh, I forgot to cover Sunday's game. Sorry. So huge apologies about that. I'll just quickly do that now. I did watch Sheffield Wednesday versus Leeds. What a game this was. I think a draw was a fair result. 2 teams going at it. Leeds probably were the better side. For me, they had the most shots. They bossed the game. They had lots of good chances that they failed to take. And when you do that, you're only going to end up probably drawing or losing the game when you don't take your chances. Reach made it 1-0 before half-time with an amazing, unstoppable goal off the post. There was nothing Bailey Peacock-Farrell could have done. Click equalised in the 54th minute with a lovely curled effort as well. That was a brilliant goal. They battled, but a draw was the end. A really, really good point for Sheffield Wednesday. That puts them down to 12th, but I think they'll be really happy with that point. They have West Brom at home next, so that'll be a really tough one as well. Leeds, they have Hull away, and they'll be looking for 3 points after no wins in their last 2 games. Finally, Bristol City versus Aston Villa. Bristol City opened the lead after 16 minutes through Brownhill, but just before half-time, Bjarnason with a header made it 1-1. And that is how it remained. A good point for both. I feel Bristol City are going very, very well, as are Aston Villa. They are, they've had a couple of defeats and a couple of draws, and their fans aren't happy. Their fans aren't happy. But the fact is, as I was saying, there's not a lot between these sides at all. Down the bottom, Preston are bottom. Millwall and Ipswich are also in the relegation zone. Just outside, we have Hull, Reading and QPR. But Rotherham, Stoke and Birmingham are all on 10 points along with QPR. So it's really tight between 16th and 24th, and it's very, very tight between 1st and 14th and 15th even. So let's have a look at the fixtures for this weekend. This week we have Aston Villa versus Preston North End. Really, really interesting game that. Aston Villa need the win. Preston, they're bottom of the league. They need anything. Brentford entertained Birmingham City, who in their last away game beat Leeds, who were unbeaten. Hull face Leeds, which will be very, very tough. Ipswich, still looking for their first win of the season, will play Middlesbrough, who have only conceded 4 goals all season. Reading will play QPR, and 2 sides that are struggling. That's 19th and 20th. Stoke play Bolton. Bolton, who are currently in 14th, and Stoke are in 17th. A win is a must there for Gary Rowett. And Wigan versus Swansea, and that is 7th versus 8th. 2 sides that will be looking to get into the playoffs at the moment. And then on Wednesday, the 3rd of October, we have Blackburn Rovers versus Sheffield United. Can Sheffield United potentially go top in that one if they win, if results go their way? Derby versus Norwich, that's 9th versus 5th. That'll be another cracking game. Millwall will travel to Nottingham Forest. That'll be very tough. Rotherham United versus Bristol City, and Sheffield United versus West Bromwich Albion. So many games to look forward to, and so much football to get ourselves into just before the international break. Thank you so much for everyone that has tuned in. I hope you really enjoyed it. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.